In 2020, I walked across the Turkish border into Georgia with my family of 7, my dog, and all of our earthly belongings. I want to talk about how I became the kind of person who does scary things when I'm scared and does them anyway. Earlier that year, I had no home with my family of 7, lived in campers in my parents' yard in rural Florida, and we only were making $500 a month because I had lost all of my other work and my husband was on a sabbatical. Sometimes it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have your life fall apart. It's embarrassing to have to move into campers in your parents' yard. Right now, I live in Portugal, and I wouldn't have gotten here if I hadn't gone through some very interesting, challenging circumstances to follow a 20-year dream to live abroad. Before, I was not the kind of person who really thought I could handle a lot. In fact, I thought that I could only be a stay at home mom. That had to do with my history. You can hear about my high control church history and how limiting it was for me as a woman in this video. I had very low belief in myself, and I used to just think that I was not cut out for a career. A lot of that had to do with having ADHD because I really couldn't envision myself in an office situation. I couldn't fathom it at all. And of course, having 5 kids, some of them having developmental disabilities, it wasn't like I had all this extra time on my hands. So where did I begin to change and believe in myself? It really all began when I had friends start getting cancer. I had other friends who tragically lost children. And I began to ask myself, what am I doing with my good health and the fact that I have all my children? Seeing the brevity of life and the fragility of life up close and personal in our community made us wonder, are we really living a life that we want to be living? And we weren't. So I had this 20-year dream to live abroad, and I just didn't think it was possible with the way our family was put together and how big our family was. And so we began traveling more internationally as sort of a backup plan. We decided to downsize, so we had a lot more extra margin financially for travel. And we began traveling the world together with our family, thanks to downsizing and also to using credit cards for travel points. And that opened a whole new world up for me with that. That was a digital course that I took at the time on how to use credit card points and how to find really good airline deals. This was a decade ago. And every time that I left the States, I felt that I was coming up for air. And it turns out that breathing is very addictive. Our kids did really well traveling the world. And we decided we wanted to live abroad, but we really believed there was only one path to doing that. And the path that we thought was available to us was a transfer with my husband's corporate job. And we were hoping to transfer to Ireland. We put our energy into that, but I also knew that I wanted to help financially and I wanted to make an income that was remote. So, enter another digital course. I've done a lot of really good life-changing learning from digital courses. The next one that I took was a training course to become a virtual assistant. And that one I'm going to link in the description because it really changed my life. I became a virtual assistant in 2019, and that career took us across the world. I think having a career really gave me confidence. It did open up the world to us because of remote income. And that makes me really proud. The other things that gave me confidence were when our plans came crashing down, when the transfer with my husband's company didn't materialize after we had already moved out of our house, I reevaluated, and our goal had never been Ireland specifically, though I love Ireland. Our goal was living abroad. That was my dream. And so I started looking for other ways to live abroad. We got a house sit in Nova Scotia. I still cannot believe that that family wanted a family of 7 to come stay in their house for 4 months for free and take care of their dog, but they did. And so that began our life abroad. And then we come to the part of the story where COVID brought us back home prematurely, and we had to live in my parents' yard. And that was devastating. And I did a lot of sad, loud crying in the camper in my parents' yard. We had no home. We're living in campers. We had no car because we had sold our car, because we were planning on moving to Eastern Europe. All the borders closed. At that time, I was applying for every kind of random remote work that I could find, trying to teach English as a second language, which I had experience doing, and I couldn't get a job. It was like desperate. That was a really, really hard time. And we had the choice at that time to give up this dream to live abroad that had already been realized and that we really loved, or we could choose to try again and figure out how to make it happen. And that's what we did. We built back up our work, both my husband and I, and we relaunched outside of the States in 2020, eventually leading us to have a flight canceled, our very last flight into the Republic of Georgia, which led us to taking a van from central Turkey to the border of Georgia and walking across with all of our earthly belongings and our dog. After surviving all of that, and after seeing the fact that I know how to adapt and I know how to pivot when things get really hard, that really gave me the self-belief that I can pivot my career. I can show up on YouTube every day and be vulnerable and talk to the internet. I can continue to grow and transform even though it's scary. Confidence comes because you do things scared. And so I've done a lot of things scared. And because I have done those things, I can look back and be like, okay, I managed that. I figured it out. It gives me the confidence to continue to figure out what I want to do and how I want my life to be. So I'm here living to tell the tale. I never imagined that I would be able to live by the sea in Portugal. We have long-term residency here. I never imagined this life would even be possible for me, especially for me, especially for my family, with all of the needs that my kids have. And it is possible. There's a lot more possible than you think. When I consider what I am capable of these days, I really feel that the sky is the limit. And I know that sounds cheesy, but walking across a border with your family of 7 will do things for you. Figuring out how to get back abroad after your journey comes crashing down, that will break you or it will make you. And for us, it made us. It showed us that when things fall apart, we are capable of rebuilding. So, I'm Andy. I'm here to remind you to dare to truly live. I'll see you tomorrow on my series, 44 Ways I Built a Life That Doesn't Break Me.